Good evening, guys. We don't usually do a show this late. And I'm sorry I'm late. You know what's really cute, real quick? I took Huxley. He's at a football game tonight with his friends, a high school football game. What a time to be alive. It's weird because I'm not old enough to have a son going to a high school football game because I look just like his aunt, is really what it is. The older sister. Aunt would be the same age as me. Older sister, guys. Linda, did you get a membership? You sure did. Thank you for becoming a member, Linda. Hey, Joel Sachs is here. Hey, Just As I Am. Mods, thank you for being here. Good evening, Lazy Silver. Hey, Heather. Lady O, West Coast Fancy Nancy made it. Kay Thompson. Wendy is here. Liz Tricks. Liz, I didn't expect you to be here. I already knew that, even in your Facebook post. Don't feel like you need to be here tonight. You don't. I know it's late. It's okay, but I love you. Thank you, Joel Sachs. Hey, Ewa. Pattykins. You sent me an email a little bit ago. Okay, I look forward to reading that. Thanks, babe. Hey, Jessica L. Buffy made it for manipulative roll call. Class. Hux is doing the social teen thing. Well, I was waiting for that. I wanted him to do that. I really want Huxley to socialize more. Like myself, he grew up in Scientology, not as much as I did, but adults are your friends. You don't really have kids your age that are your friends. If that makes sense, it's the truth. Hey, Armina. Hey, Dawn Davies. Thank you, Armina. Hey, Marie Marion. Wine a little bit more. December. Rain Virus. DS Kitty Diane, Angie Mo. I loved what you said about that stream we did on Wednesday, by the way. That was my favorite stream I've ever done. The one titled, I'm an ex-Scientologist and I have questions about God, is my favorite stream I've ever done. Hey, Alicia. Abshi, cute. Welcome in. Hey, Margie Barr. I saw that. Lisa Kelson's here. Rachel Stone. I am too, Rain Virus. Hey, Amy Edge. Caroline in Canada. Very nice to see you. I haven't seen you for a minute. Hey, Tony's Hooter. I didn't expect to see you tonight. Pattykins, it was by far like my absolute favorite. I'm glad, Lacey Silver. I'm really, truly happy. Thank you, Wendy. I have been wanting Huxley to be more social and make more friends. You can't force him to do that though, right? And he's a lot like me. I'm not the most social either, and I haven't been my whole life. Hey, MLG Gamer. Hey, Jessamine. Thank you, Liz Tricks. Just know that you support me every day. You don't have to be, but I love you. Hey, Lori Lee. That's wonderful news, Lori. Hey, OG Gaslits. That is incredible. My daughter's boyfriend is throwing a surprise wedding for my daughter on Tuesday. I'll be gone next week. That's a good reason to be gone. Congratulations. That's amazing, babe. I've never heard of a surprise wedding. That's fascinating. Let us know how that goes. Iwa, happy birthday to you. I love that it's your birthday. Hey, Autistic Margot. Grandma Sunshine Dragon is here. RSM West Coast, welcome. Megan Roberts. I'm just glad you're here, Megan. Hey, Mama Lisa. I don't know how often you post on it, but I requested to follow you on Instagram. Well, I will approve that request as soon as I go over there. I don't use Instagram that often. I don't really know how to use it. I'm a boomer. I don't know how to use that stuff. So I will go over and I know how to approve requests. I just don't get on Instagram that often, but I will. Baby steps. I'm just glad you made it. Okay. So Sam Ashby, happy early birthday. Your birthday's on Sunday. Well, I won't be here. So I'll tell you now, Sunday is the Zoom call, Sam. It's our monthly Zoom call that we have here with the members. So I won't be here Sunday. So happy birthday to you. I want to make sure I tell you. You just post photos, Buffy. Yeah, that's why I don't know that I love Instagram, because you just put pictures. It's weird. I'm like, don't you want to put a story with it or something? Hey, Anita Card. Lisa Kelson, it'll be fun. Hey, Peggy Collins. Debbie Bam. I have been saying in the, ooh, cool picture. I said last week, has anybody seen Debbie Bam? I haven't seen you. And then Shelly said you were in a chat and I must have missed you. I'm just glad you're here. I was worried I lost you for a minute. I love you, Debbie Bam, and thank you for being here. Am I doing anything fun for Labor Day weekend? I have my Zoom call Sunday, and I am too, Grandma Sunshine Dragon. And I'm hoping it's not set in stone yet. I've talked to her about it. I'm hoping to see my sister and her kids and her husband this weekend for at least just a couple hours. I don't think it's going to be very long. They're on pretty tight schedules, but I hope to see her. That's my goal for the weekend. Okay. That sounds good. Self Love Club. That's a cute name. And Baby Steps. Thank you for gifting memberships. I really, really appreciate that. Always. I appreciate that. And I know the people love it too. People love getting a membership, Baby Steps. So thank you. Self Love Club. Are you new here or did you change your name? Welcome in. There's some people that have names. Hey, Sophia, that have names that are like, oh, since YouTube changed the name here, I'm just always this person. And then I identify with it. But I don't know if that's a new person or not. Either way, welcome. Hey, Sandy Bowers. Thank you, babe. Hope Between the Dreams. Welcome in. Hey, Helena. Used to be a subscriber, but had to stop due to being a student for a while. Understood, babe. You can always be a subscriber, though, and I'm just glad you're here, and good for you being a student. That's awesome. Baby steps. Even I know you can do more than pics on Instagram. I never got into the Instagram thing. I really get on Facebook anymore just to talk to you guys in the Facebook group and say happy birthday to people. I don't care about it as much. I think becoming hey, Laura DePreets, Kathy Burkhart. I think becoming a YouTuber has pulled me away more from social media. Like I don't watch YouTube. Not true. I watched YouTube today because I wanted to get a review on something, but I don't use YouTube hardly ever. Hey, Spooky Monster Dawn. Thank you for your super chat. And I appreciate that, Baby Steps. Wanda, they're laying down. The dogs are in here. The cats are outside right now, except for Kid, of course. Lisa Kelson, I don't know what you mean. I'm really sorry that you're still sick, Dee. That really makes me feel sad. You've been sick all week. Great picture, by the way. Just rest. Take the antibiotics and rest. You can catch the replay or just don't catch it at all. It's not that serious. Okay, so here's how I want to do this. Hey, Ty Mark, we titled this Revisiting the Royal Order of Jesters. And I don't know if I'm going to disappoint you with this stream. I don't intend to put up a bunch of evidence. Hey, Sandra, anything like that. Of course, I have my little trinkets that I can show you guys. Hey, Don Pariso. I hope you can be there, Heather, but don't worry about it. It's okay. I want to do something a little different tonight about, hey, Cree Speaks. We went into this last night. It was very organic. Every show is organic because I don't ever typically have a topic. And last night was the same. I didn't have a topic. And last night inspired me for tonight. I didn't even plan to do this week. Okay. But if you recall, I did a stream Wednesday night. It feels like Tommy should be here. Weird. Armene is saying that because Tommy and I did all the Jester streams together. And I agree. He's very well educated on the Jesters and he's a good partner to talk to about it. I'm going to try to swing this solo. Yes, SoCal Joy. Thank you, Marie Marion. Hey, Mama Smurf. I'm going to do a little breakdown on tonight's is more about what I was talking about last night. Okay, Michelle Asbell. And last night, what I was saying, so let me back up. I did a stream Wednesday night, and it's my most favorite stream I've ever done. And I've been doing YouTube for 2 years now, almost daily. I take a couple days off a month. And I did a stream Wednesday night about God. And it's really opened up just a lot of thoughts for me and questions. And I've been inspired ever since. And I know this sounds crazy, but what we taught, hey, Barbara, wait, what we talked about Wednesday night was the goal, if you are a Christian, right, is to be more Christ-like. That was how I interpreted why Jesus died for us. That I'm not getting into that tonight. That's not the point. The point is, it opened up, hey, Shannon's journey, it opened up, and you don't have to believe in what I'm talking about. Okay. It's not the point. I'm not pressing or pushing any beliefs on anyone. I'm talking about from my experience here. Okay. It since that stream, and since honestly the last year, this isn't anything new, but since that stream in particular, I've been reflecting on what can I do to grow from the things that I've done that I don't feel right about, that I don't feel good about. And I've been that way for years. I mean, I have reached out to people a year or two after something has happened and said, hey, I don't feel good about that. And I'm coming around now because I want to apologize to you, or I want to work out and talk about what happened. I've done that a lot. I did that before I got out of Scientology, honestly. I if something doesn't sit well with me, I often talk about it. Hey, Jessica LaBarber. So since that stream in particular, I don't know why, the Jesters have been on my mind. And I think there's an interesting old Charlie. There is an interesting, what am I trying to say? Dynamic, contrast. I'm not really sure, but there's something I want to talk about specifically tonight since that stream and being an ex-Scientologist. Okay. Stay with me. I know what I said just sounds weird. Who are the Royal Order of Jesters? I'm going to give you just a quick brief. Most of you know, there might be one or two people in here that don't. I don't often get a lot of new people, so most of you probably know and have heard me speak about the Royal Order of Jesters. Hey, Nancy Jane. They are if you know about the Masons, they are a Masonic group. Okay. The Masons have been around for a very long time. They're a very secretive organization, a male only organization. And to be honest, I'm not going to, hey, Treasure, I couldn't sit here and rattle off facts about the Masons if you wanted me to. I'm not super educated on them. I just know what I know. There are certain things that I'm 100% about. Okay. So the Royal Order of Jesters are a very secretive, small, I would say, well, I don't know how small. I guess they do have, what did Tommy and I research on that? They have way more jesters in the world. Hey, little mama RN, they have way more jesters in the world than Scientologists. So it's not tiny. It's quite a few actually. Hey, Air Supply. Hey, Kat. It is an invitation only. They call it a luxury men's organization. Okay. That's what they call it. I was married to two jesters. The jesters have been around for a little over 100 years. I think they've been around for like 102 maybe years now, 101, somewhere in there. My husband that I was married to first, that was a jester, I did not learn much about the jesters. I didn't think they were nefarious. I didn't think anything of it. He didn't talk about it much, and he didn't participate in it while I was married to him. However, he was a jester for 50 years. Okay. I was with him for about 3. And I was with him at the end of his life where he did not care about the jesters anymore. He did not partake. So I didn't know much. I did not think anything about them. Really, I was pretty indifferent because we didn't participate much in anything. Okay. My second husband, who was a jester, was a full-blown jester. Okay. He was very, very involved. And he had only been a jester. I'm almost positive that he joined in 2012. Okay. That's a great question, Ty Mark. Do they have a monthly membership fee? They pay, no, it's not monthly. They pay dues, but it's yearly. You pay your dues at the end of every year. And I believe, I'm not positive on this, but I'm pretty sure It's either 500 or 1,000 a year. It's not cheap to be one, and you do have to make a certain amount of money to even be considered. You cannot ask about the jesters, or if you do, you will never be invited. Most of the jesters that I know of were invited in through the shrine. Okay, so Shriners, a lot of Shriners are jesters. That doesn't mean, I said this last night, I'll say this every time, because that doesn't mean you're not going to, please don't go, oh my God, my grandpa was a Shriner. I bet he was a creep. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean he was a jester. Hey, Bigsy, there's very specific, you would know, honestly, if someone in your family was a jester, because they are addicted to everything is purple. That you'll see the symbolism. They worship this creepy thing called a billiken. And they are religious, Ty Mark. That's what I want to get into. This creepy little thing is everywhere. They also use actual jesters. They gamble and they drink a lot, and they use a lot of prostitutes at their parties. All of this is in secret. All of this is sold to the wives as stag parties. I didn't know what that word meant until I became a jester wife. Stag means men only. Okay. So they sell it to their wives like it's just a bunch of fun, fun time. We're just getting together to play poker, all these things. We're going to smoke cigars, play some golf. It's just a bunch of boys getting together for fellowship, honey. And then they go to these parties and they are locked behind closed doors. The parties are always, they do pray, Ty Mark. Yes, they pray to the supreme architect of the universe, is what they call God. They are very religious. They are Christian people. And they pray to the supreme architect of the universe when they do their prayers. But they do prayers a lot. Jesters in every Masonic community or only larger cities? Oh, I would guess they're in every Masonic community, Wendy, for sure. For sure. So they're mainly white men. Get my little thing. And like I showed last night, this is the little creepy guys that they worship, the Billikens. It is not Christian, right? But Wanda, it is, because Jeff was Christian, right? He claimed to be Christian. So they claim to be Christian. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's not Christian, but they claim that they are Christians. Absolutely, they do. I've heard that from a lot of their mouths. Right. Kestrel's saying they can't be Christian and sex traffickers. I'm telling you what I know, guys, as far as they claim that. Hey, Marissa Martin, they're not. They're absolute liars. They're disgusting people, right? But they claim that. They hide behind that. That's what Masonic people do. Masonic people are very religious. This is the creepy little guys. And this is what they say. I am a jester. What I see here, what I hear here shall stay here when I leave here. That's their little saying for when they go to their little parties. They're fake Christians. There you go. Absolutely, they are. So again, I'll just show you some examples before I get, here's the little Billiken, super creepy. They have all kinds of memorabilia. Is it the longest running cult around? Oh, I would guess not at all. I would guess not at all, Lacey. So here's some examples. Here's a pin. Here's the little Billiken. Here's another one, the little Billiken. This was my husband, Jeff's. Hey, Kiki, with his little Billiken, was a cellist because that was his name. Here's one on a horse. Hey, Christine Baker. Hey, Matt's mom. Nothing about that evil cult is Christian. They can claim all they want. Yeah, of course. But they're not the only ones who are false, right? Christians, I'm sure. There's another one. There's another one. So they worship this creepy little thing they call a billiken. Here's a name tag with the billiken on it. Oh, of course I do. Hope. Bigsy. There's one. The world is full of false Christians. Thank you, Rain. That is so accurate. Billiken. So thanks, Wendy. These are both of my wedding rings, and I stacked them tonight. I never wear them, and I just thought, you know what? While we're talking to the husbands, live it up, girl. Get out there and be somebody. That's not creepy at all. Len's lynch mob. Hey, Nicola. Some of them have animals, and I have read and heard, I don't know, this is allegedly, I don't know for sure, because the parties are behind closed, locked doors with armed security out front of them, that there have been animals involved. And some of their pins have animals, and you can see that animal looks like it's in distress. And you guys think, like Wanda says, they're in the same boat as Christian nationalists. They are not Christians as they do not follow Christ. I really don't care one way or the other because they're so far beyond like what's acceptable at all to me. Following Christ would be the last thing on the list that they actually would do. They don't stand for anything good, right? I don't believe it for a second. Show me a fruit that won't rot. They're not Christian. Of course they're not. They hide behind that. They pretend to be. This one's incredibly disturbing. Here's a donkey and the guy is pulling on it, as you can see. And it's makes me uncomfortable. The animal is resisting and it's like pulling on it. No morals or positivity. Hey, P. Taylor. Reese, did he call himself the cellist because he played the actual cello or because he played women like a cello? No, he actually played the cello. He was actually a very good cellist. He was in a concert once that I went to. Did Fred ever talk about the Jesters with you, or did you learn more about them after you married Jeff? Bigsy, I learned everything I learned about the Jesters with Jeff. Fred very rarely talked about them. Can you clear up the animal thing, or is this a bestiality situation? Or so I just said allegedly because I don't know for sure. So Wendy, I have seen and been told that really creepy things happen in the parties. Okay, so really creepy things happen behind the scenes. So when they go to these parties, let me just explain. At the time, Jeff says to me when I met him, and well, hey, new life plan. I'm glad that you're here, babe. Thank you for the super chat. I love you too. Oh, I always love it when you come to the streams. My husband at the time said, I am a jester. That's something you have to be very proud of. He sells it almost like you would indoctrinate a Scientologist. Scientologists often say, like, we're an esoteric group. They stroke themselves and they say that everybody on the outside of Scientology is called in the mud, meaning you guys are dumb. They're very judgmental of non-Scientologists. They tell us not to hang around them, to be careful, don't trust them. Jesters are very similar in that they isolate them and they make you feel like you should feel lucky to be with me because we're a really big deal. Like Jeff told me all the time that jesters are the cream of the crop, the highest, most respected gentlemen on earth. And if you're married to one, you're a lucky lady. Hey, C-Dub. And I'm not kidding, by the way. Like it was sold to me like you are a lucky gal to be with a jester. Okay. Well, me being doubtful already, I really don't buy into a lot of stuff when especially you're pushing it and selling it really hard. I said to him, he said, okay, so he says to me, I am a jester. Okay. And he says, I need you to know that I go to jester parties about once a month. This is when we're first meeting, right? Like we've been together, we're dating. Well, hi, kid. I'm not mad at you anymore. You can come up here. You ate your sister's food, and I was pretty upset about it. Can you talk about when you and Tommy went to Vegas for a jester party? I can, P. Taylor, if you just remind me. I'm kind of starting in the introduction of it. But yes, I'd love to talk about that. If I forget, remind me. Okay. But I want to start at the beginning here for people who don't know. So, hey, Abundantly Empowered, welcome in. Jeff says to me, I want to stay on track here, okay? Because I don't want to annoy people. Like, this is a story that I'm trying to stay focused on. And I know that you want me to say it and not keep squirrel, okay? And I tend to do that. So I'm really trying. Jeff says to me, and it's a thorough ass story. So I also want to stay on track with myself. He says, I go to these parties. I go about once a month. You can go as often as you want, by the way. There is a jester party every weekend of the year, okay? All over the US and Canada, okay? So every single weekend, there is a jester party. You pick and choose where you want to go, okay? I can show you just real quick so you have an idea. They call them courts. So as you saw here, look at this. The President's Court, Court 54. Okay. They're all different numbered. And so they may say something like, I'm going to they call it the Book of the Play. That's the name of the party. Okay. Because they put on a play at every party. And so Jeff would say to me something like, I'm going to Court 62's party in March. I'm going to Court 21's party. I'm going to Court 134's party. So they're just different courts, okay? Oh, it's not this one. By the way, this isn't creepy, is it? There is, yes, MLG Gamer. And let's not forget the back. That doesn't look like a demon from hell, does it not? So here's their book, Court 156. Look at the imagery here. I got to tell you guys, since being a big believer in God now and Christ, I am deeply uncomfortable. Like I have chills going down my body right now. This is very demonic stuff to me. And that's the real thing I want to discuss tonight. So I'm going to show you, if you want to screenshot this, you can. This is how many courts there are, okay, across the US and Canada. There are 197 courts. So here are the cities. You're going to need to screenshot that because I'm not going to hold this up forever for you to read it. And it's a lot. So that's the first page. There are a lot. So he says to me, I'm a jester, and I want you to know I travel around for these men-only parties, and we just get together, and it's fellowship, and it's fun, and it's really expensive. We dick swing. And he says this to me, right? He approaches me, and he says this, and he's like, and it's fun, and I'll be back. So these parties are 5 days long. They go on Wednesday, and they come home on Sunday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay? Some of them start on Thursday, but most of them go on Wednesdays. So Jeff says this to me, and I go, what did you just say? And he says, I go like once a month, and it's just these fun parties. And I'm like, you go to a 5-day party once a month? And he goes, just so you know, I can't have my phone at the party. So I'll call you in the evenings when I get back to my hotel room. I have to leave my phone in the hotel room. I don't know if it's because I was a Scientologist. I'm not really sure what, but I was like, you're absolutely out of your mind. Hey, Mimi, if you think I'm going to believe that. And he goes, believe what? I'm not telling any untruths. He's like, that's what we do. And I said, you're telling me you're leaving for 5 days once a month to a male only party just to have fun, right? We're just drinking and, playing golf and it's all on the up and up. And I said, and it's very eyes wide shut. Yes. And it is eyes wide shut because they have to wear a tuxedo too. He had to pack his tuxedo every time. And he can't have his phone. And I'm like, yeah. And I said to him, I mean, I don't beat around the bush. I said to him, I don't believe it for 5 seconds. I don't believe that at all. And he goes, well, hey, pepperoni nips, I haven't seen you in so long. And I said, I don't believe that at all. And he goes, well, it's the truth. I don't know why you wouldn't believe it. And he's again very much pushing on me, like, you should be proud to be with a jester. Like, do you have any idea the status we are just because you're with a jester? And I was like, I don't give a shit. I was a Scientologist too. Like, I don't care. It's not, status is the last. You guys know, if you know me at all, entitlement and status, that kind of thing is the biggest turnoff in this world for me. I don't care if you're have a dime to your name or billions. It doesn't matter to me. Like, that's just hilarious to me that matters to people. So I said, I know this is a lie and I know there's more to it and I'm going to find out what it is. Like, you're messing with the wrong person, man. We are trained to sniff this stuff out, Scientologists. And he's like, well, good luck because there's nothing more to it. So he goes to those parties once a month. He was doing, when we first met, before I met, like when we first got together, he said he was doing like 15 to 16 of those a year. He was one of the most traveled jesters. You can go to a party every week if you can afford it. They're usually $1,500 to $2,000 a party. They're very, very expensive. Oh my gosh, pepperoni nips, I'm so sorry you got fired. First time ever in my life. I've been fired once too. Hey, Reflections, I'm sorry, my friend, but I'm happy to see you. I've missed you. That does suck. So let's skip ahead. He goes to a party in, it's called JOT, Jesters of Texas. They have a big party there. Texas has a lot of jesters. So he goes to the JOT, the party in Texas. And he leaves and he accidentally left his computer open. He always locked his computer. Well, sleuth here. Like, the second I saw that it was open, I spent all 5 days going through everything and looking through everything. And it was more than I thought it was going to be. I'll be honest. I was shocked. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. Like, I felt like my body lost all temperature. Like, I was freezing. I was sweating, but I was cold. It was really, really rough for me with the things that I saw with my own eyes. Okay. And what I saw, I took photos of. Hey, Kim is blue. I took photos of everything I saw. So I have over 400 photos I've never shown you guys. Okay. Of things that were absolutely basically just all activity with prostitutes. So the purpose of these parties is there is a large group of jester prostitutes. They're specifically prostitutes for the jesters. And I was told this by Jeff, like, he answered every question I had. They're specifically prostitutes. The girls travel. I couldn't tell you. There's probably at least 100, maybe 200 of them. They pick and choose what weekends they want to work. And what you can do is you can book them at the parties for like a night. You can book them for an hour. Or what my husband did was he would hire them as what they call, the word they use is privates. So let's say her name is Tiffany. Tiffany would reach out and go, hey, Jeff, I'm available for Court 54's party in June, but I am booking out for it. So do you want to hire me? And he would write back. These are conversations I read. He would write back and say something like, oh, I already hired a private for the whole weekend. Or he would say something like, I got a private Friday and Saturday. Are you available Sunday? Or he would say something like, I'm not going to that party, but I am going to be at the St. Louis one. I'd like to hire you as a private the whole time. There's many ways you can do it. I also read, I don't know this for sure, but their parties that they have, just the big parties in closed doors rooms, they lock the rooms and they hire off-duty cops. Hey, Catherine J, to stand behind the doors. Nobody is allowed into the Jester parties. They take it very seriously. You can't bring your phone in, and they hire off-duty cops to lock and seal, stand behind the doors. So I have been told, I have read online, and I have been told by undercover people have told me that in these parties, they have oral contests. So, like, you don't have to hire a prostitute at all. What you can do is go to the party where it's just a big open room, like a banquet room that they rent for the weekend. That's where the party is. And it's called hospitality. That's the word they use for the party. You can eat in there, you can drink in there. They hire bartenders, which are separate from the prostitutes, but it is bartenders that work specifically for the Jesters. And they're typically naked, serving naked, or they're at least topless. And this is what I was told. Hey, Stacy Toms. So it's just total debauchery, right? Like, it is just full blown. The whole purpose, I was told that they have TVs in every hospitality room with porn, like, playing the whole time. I also have heard, I don't know if this is true, that they could have animals in there. Again, there's no way to record anything, except I have a feeling it's kind of like an Epstein situation where somebody probably records some of this stuff so that in case they ever wanted to leave, they're likely going to be blackmailed. That's my guess. Don't know if it's true. Been told some things, right? Here's the thing. Also, I have people still, I actually just got an email a couple days ago. I have people still who reach out to me under the radar. And they'll say something like, I'm not going to give you my name, but I work for the Jesters. I have spoken to so many of the bartenders, and the prostitutes have come forward, and I've spoken to them, and they've given me detailed information. So some of them have confirmed the questions that I had, but still it's allegedly because I'm not there and I don't know for sure, right? Yes, it is abundantly empowered. Yes, it is. So, back to the computer. I don't know, Big Z. Hey, Port and Fizzle. I'm not sure, and I try not to think too much about it, to be honest. The main things that I saw in that computer in the email were, first of all, and I could show these sometime. I just would have to black out names. I don't have to. I checked with my privacy attorney. I can show everything. I wouldn't do that. I don't want to do that. I'm not interested in doxing people. The whole scene is bad. Okay. Just so you know, these books, these are, well, I won't show you names. I showed you last night. I'm not going to. This shows every Jester, their photo, email, address, wife's name, wife's date of birth, home phone, their date of birth, what they do for a living, and cell phone. These idiots who try so hard to pretend like this isn't real. Here's their photos. Okay. And there's pages of that. So I will say this. I know a lot of them in Kansas City, and I will tell you one of them several of them in Kansas City are Kansas City police officers. One of them is a homicide detective. I know him personally. I know his wife. The other one is a Kansas City, I won't say what kind because I don't want to narrow it down, a Kansas City judge. He's a judge. I know him and his wife. And I have sat with him at many parties asking my legal questions to him. They only really recruit in, I was told this by my husband. David Gregory, we're talking about your husband. Yes, I was told this by my husband. They really only, this is very Eyes Wide Shut if you've seen the movie. They recruit in politicians, a lot of judges, a lot of lawyers, and cops. There's a lot of attorneys in the Jesters. I have met so many attorneys, right? Makes sense why they would do that. And it makes sense why they've gotten away with it for so long, because they're recruiting in people who are in high positions of power, a lot of wealth, and they're able to be protected that way. I was told this. So, like I said to you early on, when I really went into depth, I saw all those things on the computer. Let me just say there's one thing I want to share on the computer that I saw. And there's tons of things I saw. I'm not gonna label every single thing I saw. There was specific men emailing back and forth with my husband, talking about which parties they're attending. You know, they're trying to figure out, are we going to meet here, here, here? And they were on an email thread, and they would put up photos, naked photos of women, and they would say things like, "This is Jessica, blah blah blah. She came to a party last weekend in Oklahoma. We really enjoyed her. She did a good job. She's a mother of two. She wants to travel more. We really want to get her around more." And then they would say, "This is Sandy, blah, blah, blah. Non-smoker, really good at what she does, good in the sack." Like, it was really, really fucked up. They treat these women like total objects. And then they would write back, the men on the email, and go, "Oh, she's hot. Yes, Big Z." And then they would say things like, "I'll take her. I would like to have that one. That one's really good." So it was disgusting, right? And the women participated. Hey, Joni, the women participated, and they would write on the email thread, and they would say, "Here's a picture of my tits. I'm obviously really tired. I just had a long weekend with you boys. Not the best picture of me. Haha, tee hee hee, LOL." Like, the women also, it's the only thing I like about this is it's consensual. I mean, my husband told me repeatedly these women are paid a huge amount of money. These women are paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Most of these women are married with children, and my husband told me almost all of them tell their husbands, the prostitutes tell their husbands, they are Mary Kay sales reps. And that's why they make so much money. And that's why they have to travel every weekend of the year, because they're going around just making all this money. So it's a consensual thing. They enjoy what they do. I interviewed a couple of them. I interviewed the one who's been with the Jesters the longest. I will not say her name. She's been a Jester prostitute for, I think, 40 plus years. And I read the interview to you guys. I did a video on it, and it's on my page. She said, "I love what I do. I love making this money. I love traveling." And she said to me, you need to stop what you're doing on YouTube talking about this, because you're ruining my income and you're pissing off the men." And she was like, "The wives are getting angry with you because they love it. Hey, Aline, the wives love it. They want their men to go do this, and you're interrupting the flow of all of that, and you need to stop. These are married men, but they love what they do, and the wives don't mind." And I went back and forth with this woman, because she had slept with my husband dozens of times. She told me this. She said, "I've slept with him over and over and over. I slept with him for years." And she was like, "He was so in love with you. He loved you. Why did you divorce him?" And they're very brainwashed. These people are incredibly, incredibly brainwashed. And I just said to her repeatedly, I kept saying, do you feel any kind of remorse for what you do? You are ruining marriages." And she wrote me back, "Katie Fulton, I love you." She wrote me back and said, "I am saving these marriages. I save marriages, because you know what? These men are very unhappy, and they come to a party and they go home back happy to their wives." And I was like, this is the most backwards thing. And I couldn't argue with her anymore. Do you think that the wives really all know that it's going on? No, Bigsy. I think some of them do. I'll give you an example. My husband went to a Jester funeral. There was a lot of Jester funerals because a lot of these guys are older. And the wife came up to my husband, and she said, she winked, and she said, "I have to say, thank God for the Jesters. It kept him off of me for the last 30 years. No joke. So there are many Jesters. All these people are super rich, like country club wealthy people. My husband belonged to a country club. I believe a lot of them handed over a credit card to the wife and said, here, babe, do whatever the fuck you want, but I'm going to these parties. Okay. We good? We have an agreement. And I think a lot of them, hey, Copper, said, absolutely, I'll sell my soul. Sure. Because a lot of these women also had an alcohol problem. A lot of them, I saw this. I mean, I'm not guessing. I saw it at parties. A lot of these women would come up and be like, aren't you so thankful to be married into this? Like, it is the best. They'd be like wasted and come up to me. I don't drink. So I'd be sipping on my Shirley Temple and I was like, wow, you are brainwashed. So yes and no. I know some of the wives were pregnant, younger women. Why do I care now? I don't care so much now. David Greger, you're just here tonight. I had been talking about this for years. I care now. So I actually want to, you make a good point, and I want to flip to that. Thank you, Hope Between the Dreams. I really appreciate you saying that. And it's very validating. It's very validating. And thank you for the super chat. Wanda was a jester wife as well. Wanda was married to my husband, Jeff. She was married to Jeff and had 2 children with him for 36 years. So she knows way more than I do. How long? I was married to Jeff for 3 years and I was with him for a total of 5 years. So we were together for a couple years before we got married. So it got uglier and it got uglier. I began to become one of those jester wives in a sense. I quit my corporate career that I was making good money at. I sold my house, right? And I put the down payment on a house with Jeff. I depleted my money, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And thank you, David Gregory. I depleted my money. And I believe that is the ticket. I think that's what a lot of these men do. I think it's almost like they are trained to do this. They all say the same thing. So I don't know what happens when they are brought into the Jesters, but they all say things like, it's an honor. It's an honor that you're married to one of us. We are the cream of the crop, most gentlemen. When any of the husbands contact STDs, that's a great question. So they don't use condoms, and that's according to what my husband told me. There are many jester doctors that have to check each girl out for STDs. And I was told, my husband said they have to approach every party with their papers. That's what I was told. They have to come to every party with their papers that they've been checked out by one of the jester doctors and they're clean and STD free. But my husband said when he slept with them, he said, we never used a condom. I don't want to use condoms with women. So no, they did not. As far as STDs go, I'm guessing just because, so here's the thing. I was like, that's bizarre. So let's say I show up with my papers. You're going to bring yours? How do we know that these men don't have STDs, right? So it's really, really unsafe for these women. It's very, I mean, that's one of the many, many things, right? That's very unsafe. I do too, Kim is blue. Wanda was married to a jester and she says the men aren't checked and I got an STD. Thank you for sharing that, Wanda. That was very brave of you. I appreciate you sharing that. I care for several reasons. Some jesters are in charge of enforcing laws and are violating those laws. Some of these prostitutes are being groomed and then trafficked. That's one of the many, many reasons, Christy Lynn. And thank you for standing up and saying that. We should all care. We should all care. She's absolutely right. One of these guys is a judge. A lot of these guys are cops. A lot of these guys are lawyers. You just don't know. And it should be shut down. Am I going to be the one that shuts it down? Probably not. Kind of like Scientology. But I am going to use my voice, even though I get threatened. Yeah, Joni, how degrading is that, carrying papers around, right? They don't care about the women. So that's the other thing that leads me to. So I started going to jester parties. Now, these are women allowed parties. There's a couple of them a year. There's the lady, they call it the ladies' Christmas party, right? The women are allowed to go to. But then they also have little get-together parties that are local where the wives can come. Otherwise, I couldn't even go with Jeff. Like, let's say there was a jester party in Colorado and he said, I'm going to that. And I said, can I come with you and just stay in the hotel? Absolutely fucking not. right? Clearly, because that hotel is full of the other jesters and prostitutes, and they're all getting together. So no was I allowed to be anywhere near an actual jester party. So I go to little get-togethers, little gatherings, and when I start going, and even funerals, this happened to me. The first time it happened, I went to a ladies' Christmas party. Thank you, Kestrel. And hey, Renee B. And one of the guys came up to me. Okay. He's a younger one. He was like 45, maybe. And his wife was there. She was pregnant at the time, largely pregnant, like ready to give birth. She was just full carrying that baby. And I really enjoyed her. She was very kind. And within about an hour of my meeting, he came up and with the worst uncomfortable grip, grabbed my butt, like grabbed me on the ass. And I did that. I mean, it scared the holy crap out of me. And he put his mouth like on my ear and he was like, "That's a sexy dress, girl." Whatever he said, something like that. And I, as outspoken as I am, when stuff like that happens to me, and that's happened to me many, many times, I freeze. I got to get better at that. I'm pretty sure if someone did that to me now, I don't know if I would hit, but I would certainly make noise. And I would say, "Get your fucking hands off of me." I've never done that. I freeze. I panic. It freaks me out. I go silent and it scares me. I usually feel like my breath is gone. I'm like, I feel like I lose my breath. It scares me to this day. I don't know if it's growing up in Scientology. I won't let men touch me. I'm totally fine with my actual partner, right? Like I'm not scared to have a boyfriend or a husband, but I won't get a pedicure by a man. I won't get a pap smear by a man. I typically try to find a female dentist. I don't like being touched by men. I have a weird thing about it. I feel much safer around women. I always have. I will not, I'm just uncomfortable letting men touch me. I'm shocked. My recent doctor for my diabetes is a guy, and I love him. And he was so kind, but he also has a woman with him the whole time, and he's very respectful of women. Yeah, Danique, I know it's not uncommon. So that was the first time it happened. And then it happened again and again and again. At almost every party I attended, somebody would grope me, grab me. At one party, a guy came up and grabbed me by the hair very hard and whispered into my ear. It happened to me so much. I can talk about this now without crying. I felt so violated and scared and small and helpless. And that is not the kind of person I am. I'm a fighter. I'm not that kind of person. But it was absolutely shocking to me to have another human being come up and without my consent or just without my knowing you're there, even like sometimes they'd come up from behind me and just grab. And not just that, but the words. So I went to a party once. I don't know, Copper. I went to a party once and Jester came up. "Hey, love it." And I was all dressed up. You always it's black tie. All of these parties are black tie. And Jeff would have me buy the prettiest dress and the fanciest with the sequins. And, I always got my hair done and makeup. And I looked forward to that because I like getting dressed up. But it was always to a degree, I started to learn I don't like these parties anymore. Yes, Wendy, he did. So I'll get to that. We go to a party, and this happened more often than getting groped. It happened at almost every party. And keep in mind, this is just a fact. This is not me shaming anybody. I was often one of the youngest wives. Okay. So what does that mean when you're in a room full of creeps? What does that mean when hey, Lenora Gray, hey, Joy Lee, when you're in a room full of cheating men and you got the blonde girl that's got, she's all dressed up and full of energy. And most of the women, most of the wives are in their 60s or 70s, and they're beautiful ladies. They're all dressed up too, right? They're beautiful in my eyes. But what are the men going to go to? I'm getting older. They'll do it, right? Like they always go for the younger woman. It's sick and it's fucked up, but they do. And so I would go to these parties And it was no shock that I'd be over going up to they always had a bar, and I drink Shirley Temples. I always drink Shirley Temples if I go out because I don't drink and I never have. So I would go up to get a Shirley Temple with my husband, Jeff, and he drank. And never once did it miss a beat. The men would come just casually up to us. And they'd go, Jeff, who is this? Is this your daughter? And he'd go, ha, 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 Bill, this is my wife, Reese, or this is my girlfriend at the time, or whatever. And they would go elevator eye me. And it was so like I was a piece of cattle. It was so uncomfortable. This is not flattering. Okay. I like being flirted with. This isn't that. They'd hold up their drink and they'd study me and my body noticeably, intentionally. And they'd go, I like what I see, Reese. Nice choice, Jeff. Good pick, brother. So, Reese, how long you guys been together? And they'd slow their voice down. They'd get all syrupy and gross. And every time I was like, ugh, it was so uncomfortable. Now, there were a few that were respectful, and they'd go, hi, welcome. I'm blah, blah, blah. This is my wife. Like it's not like every single one was a dirtball. 90% of them were. Some of them were not. There was one in Kansas City that I really liked, but I just choose to believe that he was a good person. I'm not going to think otherwise. I really liked him, and I liked his wife a lot, and he seemed to like her a lot. I'm going to choose that that's the way it is. I don't want to think more about it. I don't want to paint a bad picture that I don't have painted in my head. But it was incredibly violating. And I started to use my voice with my husband. And I believe truly these guys pass women around. I know they do with the prostitutes, right? But it broke my heart, and it made me cry, and it made me unfixable. You couldn't fix this. The first time it happened, and I felt like I could voice about it, we left the party, we got in the car, and I said, this guy, I named him, and I said, I need to tell you something. And I really, truly thought most men would go to bat for you, especially if you're their lady, right? Like most men wouldn't put up with this shit. And I'd never been with anyone who would put up with this shit. So we get in the car and I'm like, my voice is shaking and I'm nervous and I hate what just happened. And I say, this guy did something. I need to tell you about it. And he was like, did what? What happened? And it was almost like he had to pretend to be interested. Like he knew what happened. And I know that for a fact that like they have to be okay with it. They share women. They don't give a shit. Like my husband was not jealous at all. Any man was flirting with me. And he would always say like, no, I admire it. It's a compliment. They're getting off on it. He didn't care. So I'm shaking my voice and I'm trying not to cry. And I said, he grabbed me. He grabbed me. I don't know, this is really uncomfortable. Even still, this is so uncomfortable. And he said, what do you mean he grabbed you? And I said, he grabbed me. He grabbed me on the ass. He said really inappropriate things. And I need you to know about it. And I'll never forget, he did this every time. He went, well, was he drinking? And I was like, does it matter? I don't know. He's your fucking friend. All I'm telling you is he grabbed my body, right? Like in a sexual way. Do you care? And he was like, well, I didn't see it. And I was like, you what? What does that mean? You don't believe me? And he said, well, I didn't see it. So I can't say anything to him. I didn't see it. And I was crushed by that. I thought, you're supposed to protect me. Like, isn't that just kind of an unwritten rule between man and wife? Like, you're supposed to care if that happens. So that happened again and again and again throughout the years. And I, every time would bring it up and I'd go, he grabbed me. And he'd go, well, I mean, I didn't witness that. So after a while, didn't say anything anymore. And I think honestly, he mentioned to me one time we were fighting. And I said, I was talking about the jester prostitutes. And I said, "Oh no," I was mocking him. And I said, "Oh no, I'm sure I'd make a great jester prostitute. I'm sure I'd make a great one, right?" And instead of the an answer I would have expected, he took that very literally. And he said, "You would make an excellent jester prostitute." He said, "You would make a ton of money. You're exactly what they would want." He was like, "You're young, you have a great body, you're blonde." Yes. He was like, "You'd be good at it." And once he was like full of energy about that response, I said, I'm your wife. Wow." And he said, "But you couldn't do it. He got real condescending, right? And he said, "There's no way you could do it." And I said, "Really? Was Jeff a lot older than me?" He was 27 years older than me. Yes. "I'm sorry, Wanda." And I said, "Why couldn't I do it, Jeff?" And he said, "Oh, it would break you." He said, "It would break you mentally. I know you too well. You couldn't handle it mentally." And I said, "What the fuck does that mean? I don't even know if I want to know." And he said, "Well," he said, "you would have to take at least 20 men a day." And he said, "I just don't think you could do that." He's like, I just don't think you would be able to mentally handle it." He said, "It's a job." He said, "I know all of these prostitutes." And he said, "It's a job." And it is, he said, mentally very, it's a lot. And I could not believe 20 men a day. And he told me repeatedly he was friends with all of them. And he told me repeatedly that they are all happily doing what they do. He said they make great money. He said, we treat them like a side piece. Basically, they're not just going in and having intercourse and leaving. Like my husband, I'll tell you, took them out on dates. He took one of them to Disneyland while they were at a party in Florida. In California, he took one of them to the French Laundry, which apparently he is like a incredibly like month waiting list, and it's like a super expensive restaurant. They don't these are like high class. They're not just, two pump chumps and we're done. They're taking them out, they're whining and dining them, which is just so weird. Like they're a sure thing they're going to get paid. He would send them flowers, he would send them chocolates. He paid for their travel. I have in his emails, I have all those saved of he paid for their plane tickets. He paid for their hotels. They would travel together. I have so many messages back and forth when he was like, "Don't call me. I'm with my wife," or I can meet you that weekend. I'll buy your plane ticket. We can fly there together. I can't wait to see you. Like all these disgusting, I don't feel sorry for these women. I mean, it's unfortunate. I'd love for them to get out of it, but they're well aware of what they're doing and they're not being forced to do this. So they have a big party every year. They have a huge party. And this is not a book of the play. This is just a get together kind of fuck party, right? And it's in Vegas and it's every December and it's called the branding party. Las Vegas Court 181, December 11th to the 15th, 2019, branding party. And Tommy Scoville, you guys know who that is. Tommy and I went to this party. We showed up. I know all the dates of their parties. I know all the dates of every party they have, all the locations. Tommy and I showed up, right? We didn't announce it. We just showed up. It was hilarious. I bought a wig on Amazon and I was like wearing it. And we show up and we stayed in the hotel that they had their party, and they did not expect that. And it was not what I had hoped for it to be. I wanted to stream it, but you can't. They wouldn't let us stream, of course, the Las Vegas Gaming Commission. You can't. The whole party was in the. They had their closed doors. They took down like the whole second floor, right? So you couldn't even go up there. But then when they were out of the private party, right, they'd come out with the prostitutes and they'd walk the floor where I was, but it was the casino, and you can't stream in a casino. Jeff was not at the party. He had been kicked out by then. So I know most of these guys, and I'm there with Tommy. And, I took a few photos, but it was absolutely isn't flying people across state lines for prostitution a federal offense? It sure is. It's human trafficking. Yes, it is. And I have reported that. It was hard. It was, I will say that party was both really, what's the word? I guess validating for me to witness it in real time, because I had been lied to big time by Jeff about what goes on. Like, for instance, for years, he told me, "Oh, you won't ever see a prostitute out in public with a man at the party. Like they keep it all off, like on the fringes out there. Like you can't be love it." There's actually, how do they get kicked out? There's a whole in there. They have a book in the back here of the bylaws and like what you can and can't do. Liberating. Thank you, Hope. And eye-opening. Yes. So I knew I was lied to. So in a lot of ways, it felt super, super good. It really did feel good to be in real time watching this. There were jester prostitutes everywhere, and they were walking around. This is really creepy. I'm going to show you something, but I'm not going to show you this is a name tag. They all see how blinged out it is, right? They all look like this. Didn't that judge get caught with hookers and cocaine? Yes, different judge. There's several judges that are jesters, but different judge. So this is what they wear these. They have to wear these. They can never have their photo taken with this on because it says Jesters, right? And it has the little creepy demon. So they have to wear these. Hey, Audra in Denver got unsubscribed. Well, hit subscribe, everybody. Audra got unsubscribed. Hit subscribe while you're in here. It happens. So when we go to this party in Vegas, all of the prostitutes, this is so gross, are wearing the men's name tags for the men they're with. That makes me want to cry. So they were basically like, I'm owned by him for the weekend. They were wearing the guy's name tag. Hey, no one, for the man that had hired them for the weekend. And some of them I recognized just by their faces. I knew what they looked like, and some of them I didn't. If I remember correctly, wasn't there a mother-daughter duo? Yes, Denise LaFond, there was a woman who was born into being a jester prostitute. Just side note, they're extremely racist as well. There's no Black people that I am aware of. That doesn't mean there aren't any, but there are none that I am aware of in the jesters. So they're walking around with these men's names, and the guys know I'm there. My cover was blown eventually. And what do? They're pissed. They are so mad that I'm there. One of them, his name's Jason. He's the one who's in charge of the hookers. He's in charge of hiring them, bringing them in. One of them admitted that to me. Jason admitted that to me at a Christmas party one year. He came up to me. He was probably a little bit drunk. He had been drinking, but he didn't seem drunk to me. But he comes up to me at a party, and I don't know him very well. Younger guy, and says, this is just a side note. He comes up to me and he says, I wasn't sure if I liked you, but I really like you. And I had just found everything out, by the way. I had just seen all this computer stuff. This was way back when. And I'm pretty fucking bitter at this lady's Christmas party. Like, I'm going around, I'm sitting at a big table, and like some of the women are like, so Reese, are you enjoying your job? Like, they're trying to make small talk. And I was like, you guys know what these guys do, right? When they go to parties. Like, I was really pushing it. I got kicked out. I got banned from the ladies' Christmas party after that. I was no longer allowed to show my face at a ladies' Christmas party. So much so that they went back on the cameras in that hotel where the party was to see which women I talked to. Who did I get to? One of them, her name was Dot. She got wasted. And this was right before I talked to Jason. She's so drunk, right? And she's at the bar and she's trying to make small talk, and she was like slurring. And I said, I know I'm a new jester wife. But I was like, this is bullshit, what goes on. And she's holding her drink and she goes, oh, she had been a jester wife for a couple decades. She actually just Facebook friended me. She got divorced from the guy. She goes, oh, and she is drunk. And she goes, so And I was like, oh my God. I was like, there's one of them that knows. Because the other ones I was trying to like edge on, they wouldn't get it. I was like, what goes on at these parties? And they were like, what do you mean? Like just these innocent little doe-eyed creatures. And she says, did you ever find others that were as hurt as you were? What do you mean, Audra? Like wives? I don't know what you quite mean. Can you elaborate? So that's what she says to me. She goes, so And I was like, oh. And Marissa Martin, holy shit. Audra, I haven't talked to any of them. Wanda, Dot has a long, complicated story. I wonder if Dot would be willing to talk about it. Probably not. I wouldn't really want to push her to do that. So Dot says that to me, Wanda. She goes, so And I said, And she goes, of course I know. She's like, these cheating motherfuckers. Like she goes off. She's like, I hate my husband. She's like, he's a cheating piece of shit. He sleeps with all these hookers. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, whoa, we got to talk her. I was like, we got to talk her. So someone comes and gets her and takes her back to her room. And Jason comes up to me. This is the guy. Kim is blue. And he goes, he's real condescending. He's real kiss ass, right? And I'm like, you think I can't see through what you're doing? So he comes up to me and he goes, how old is Dot? I have no idea. She's older than me. She's probably in her 50s. He comes up to me and says, I really like you. And he's like, and you're perfect for Jeff. He is so in love with you. And he's just like, he's stroking me for some reason. And I'm angry, right? Like I'm already mad because I hate these guys. Every time I'd go to a party, I was like I hated them. I had such a hard time. Jeff would threaten me on the way to the party, literally in the car. He'd be like, you keep your fucking mouth shut. You better not say anything. Because he knew I was so like chomping at the bit. I hate these guys, right? So Jason comes up and he's sugarcoating it. And he's like, Jeff is so in love with you. I've never seen him happier. He's like, he's so happy. And he kept saying to me over and over, he goes, head over heels. He is head over heels in love with you. I've never seen a man more in love. And I'm doing this. He knew I had like total bitch face on. And he kept going because I kept going. And he goes, he just really loves you. And then finally he stops and he goes, what? He knew he was full of shit. And I said, I know what you guys are about. Like I had you would have thought I was drinking that night because I had no inhibitions. And I said, I know what you guys are about. I said, don't fucking sugarcoat this. I know what you guys do. I've seen it. I said, I read in his computer. I've seen the shit you guys do. Don't try to pull one over on me, dude. And he goes, I don't know what you mean. And I said, I see in your eyes, you know exactly what I mean. We both know what I mean. Don't fucking beat around the bush. I know what you do and I know what you're up to. And I've seen it. I said, I have proof. I've seen it. So cut the shit. Hey, Cliff Ann. And this dude totally takes down the snake oil salesman face. And he goes like blank face. And he goes, all right. I'm in charge of all the girls. What do you want to know? And I said, no way. And he goes, what do you want to know? And I said, no fucking way. I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, prayers answered. I said, you're kidding. And he goes, I'm in charge of hiring all the girls. What do you want to know? And I said, I was like trying to come up with all my questions in that moment. And I just said, I said, what about, because Jeff always told me that the bartenders were separate from the hookers. And he told me that the bartenders don't sleep with the men because they're separate from the hookers. And I was like, is that true? And he goes, that is true. And what he said to me, quote, he goes, bartenders don't fuck. And I said, what? He said, bartenders don't fuck. He goes, they can. He goes, and they have, but it's not required. They can, like if they get thrown a bunch of money at one of the parties, he goes, what, they can do whatever they want, but they're not forced to. He goes, prostitutes. Okay, Wanda, thank you. He said, prostitutes are different. And he said, the bartenders solicit the men at the parties, the new guys, and say like, hey, my friend Christine is in room 212. If you want to go see her tonight, she's really good. And then they get a kickback. He told me they get a kickback. The bartenders get a kick. That's how they make extra money there. The bartenders get a kickback. And I said, well, is that how they're all friends? He said, yeah, because they all make friends because they pass back and forth the money. And I said, do you sleep with the hookers? And he said, blowjobs only. His wife was at the party. This guy's wife was at the party. And he goes, blowjobs only. He goes, my wife and I are totally fine with that. He said, blowjobs only. I'm not allowed to have intercourse with him. He said, my wife says, it's one less blowjob I have to give. And I was like, cool marital rules. Neat. Great. I bet that really works for you guys. And he said, Jeff really is in love with me. He said, I've never seen the man so in love. He said, I've never seen him cheat on you. He said, and he's traveled with me to a lot of parties. I've never seen him cheat on you. And I said, I'm sure. And he said, no, I haven't. He said, he is head over heels in love with you. And I said, yeah, I'm sure. Okay. Yeah. Like temptation, I'm sure doesn't enter in here, but, and they talk like they have morals. Yes. So I only got a few minutes and some woman, really drunk woman, walked up to Jason and she goes, I don't remember where my room is. Can you help me find it? And he took her back to her hotel room. So I didn't get to finish this conversation. But Jason, fast forward, was at the branding party in Vegas. So he knew me well. And he's at the branding party. And I walked past him and I went like that. And he went like this. He was like following me and he went like he was shooting me. And I was like, oh, get the hell out of here. Hey, Tazzy man. So that was the last time I saw Jason, was at the branding party last year. Wasn't that last year? Yeah. In December. And so we're only an hour and 15 minutes in. The second part of this. So I kind of explained the Jesters. Now you have more of an overall idea. There's so much more to this. But the second part of this that I want to say is, now that I am much more like I'm solid in my beliefs. I was a Scientologist for 38 years. I have never felt stable on what I believed in. I knew what I was told to believe in. I knew what I was told who I am. Yes, Kim is blue. I was right. Like, Scientologists were forced to study the works of L. Ron Hubbard. It was always forced and it was always unnatural. So now I am a big believer in God. And I feel 100% different. It feels incredibly natural. I just know. It's something I stand firm on. I just know, right? And I want to talk about the difference here. I was thinking about this last night after last night's show. I said this, and I really want you guys to hear me on this. Scientology did not shake me or break me in any way, if that makes sense. I never felt like I can't take this anymore. This is mentally I'm going to snap. I felt that in those 5 short years, less than 5, like 3 years. Okay, Wanda, that I was married to a jester. I truly felt, and I've had some hardcore training, right? Like, Scientology is not for the weak. I truly felt, and I felt myself becoming evil, like angry all the time. I fought with him all the time. I knew it was wrong and I felt trapped in that relationship. And it was meant to be that way. Jester wives are trapped. They trap you intentionally. They dwindle down any financial money that you may have and they become in control. And I said this last night. My husband and I would fight about the Jesters constantly. I fought him constantly. I would tell him all the time, I'm never going to be one of those Jester wives that lays down and takes it. I'm never going to be okay with you going off to a prostitution party, right? And me just being cool with it because I have your credit card. Get that out of your head. And I said to him all the time, you're never going to break me. Stop gaslighting me, because he would say, this is all in your head. You're fucking nuts. You're crazy. He would say to me, do you really think we have hooker parties? How would we have a club for 100 years? How would we be able to do all this and pull it off legally for over 100 years, Race? Like, do you hear yourself? You're nuts. He would say that to me all the time. The biggest thing he would say to me, and it truly started to break me down, he would say to me, sweetheart, you're not making any sense. Your thoughts are not in reality. He said that to me all the time. When I would bring up Jesters, he'd go, do you hear yourself, honey? Your thoughts are not in reality. And that's okay. That's what he would do to me. And I would go, fucking stop. Stop it. Like, I know what you're doing. And I even said, I will use Wanda here, because I did. I used to say to Jeff all the time, Wanda is in this chat. She and I are friends. This was Jeff's wife before me. Okay. I would say to him, I know you did this shit to Wanda. You're not going to do it to me. You broke that woman. You fucked her up mentally. You're not going to do that to me. I would say that to him, like, stop it. This is what you did to your wife before this. Stop it. Like, I had to get a hold of myself. Like, I had to get a hold of myself. Like, I would have to step out of the room and go, you're not crazy. I know me, and I'm not crazy. And I know my memory. I have a very sharp memory. And he would say to me, you haven't seen anything. And I would say, I have shots of your computer. I took pictures of everything I've seen, right? That's okay, Wanda. I figured she would be, and that's perfectly acceptable. And I would say, I have pictures. And he would go, no, you don't. What do you mean? You've never seen anything. It was like he had a crystal ball and he was trying to perform black magic on me. I was like, they're in this device. Yes, I do. Like, I would find myself arguing with him and he'd go, you've never seen anything. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just a crazy Scientologist. He would say those kinds of things. And I was like, I would laugh sometimes and I'd go, you're not even fucking good at this. You're right. I am a Scientologist. And this is cheap and weak, dude. You're not even good at this. You're terrible at this. Like, I would fight him back, but I always knew inside he won. No matter what, he won because he had the upper hand, right? He paid all the bills. I had no money left. And if he didn't want me to go anywhere, he'd hold up. I'm going to pretend these are keys. He'd hold up my car keys and he'd go, you're not going anywhere. And that used to scare the ever loving shit out of me. And I'm not easy to scare. He'd hold up my car keys and go, oh, you're not going anywhere. And if I was allowed to leave, see, he would always go with me everywhere I went. I'd go, I don't need you to go. And he'd go, I'm going. And I would go, no, I'm going by myself. And he'd go, I'm not asking. You don't go if I don't go. He'd say things like that. He tracked my phone everywhere I went. So if I would fight with him about the Jesters, I would say, I'll be back. And I would go to pay for something. And he would, when I get to that store that I was at, he'd track my phone and he'd see when I got to my destination. And I'd go to swipe the card and it would decline. He would shut it off. And I would come home and he'd go, did you get what you tried to buy? And I was like, you're a piece of shit, man. You think that's funny? And he'd go, well, maybe next time you'll obey me and you won't talk about the Jesters. I've asked you not to talk about it. As long as you obey, you won't have a problem. He would say things like that to me. So I became very, very ugly. I became an ugly person. I became very vindictive. I feel very dark and very evil. And that's coming from an ex Scientologist. Okay. I found myself incredibly, incredibly unhappy. So unhappy. And so what I'm trying to say to you here is my point. I want to, hey, Florence Southern, there's two evils here. There's Scientology, which is what I grew up in, and then there's the Royal Order of Jesters. He did, Dawn. And you know why the Royal Order of Jesters are so much worse? Because Scientology has you focusing on you. You know, you're holding the cans. You're having to give up all the crimes you did in all of your life, this lifetime, last lifetime. It's very, what did you do to get sick? What did you do? I mean, Scientology is super evil, but what I'm trying to say is I want to know why in those short amount of years, I truly thought I was not going to make it. I thought mentally I'm crumbling. I can't do this anymore. Like I feel trapped. I feel like a trapped animal. I'm scared. I told you guys last night, there was a time that I said, I'm going to talk about this. I am going to say something to someone. And he said to me in the most creepy voice, he said, do you want something to happen to you? Do you want to disappear? You want something to happen to you? And it was the creepiest thing. I never felt that in Scientology. Not to mention, these guys are pretending and hiding behind God, religion. You know, he shamed me all the time. He would say, I'm a Christian. I'm saved. You're not. Right? So like these guys also they go to prayer. They do like a group prayer at the parties where they worship the supreme architect of the universe. So it's creepy. It's super creepy because I truly believe, like just being where I'm at with God now, that they perform sex rituals, right? There are actual rituals that they do that I'm told that they do in those parties with the women. It is like dark, dark, demonic. Yes, they are tax free. The Jesters are a tax exempt organization. Wrap that around your head. But these guys are way, in my opinion, way darker, right? Scientology is, of course, evil. It's just a different kind of evil. I did not feel afraid and trapped and frightened and threatened like I did in Scientology. I never was in Scientology thinking, I'm not going to make it. This is breaking me. I'm not going to make it. I would sit at home thinking that with Jeff. I was like, this is like testing me. This is really putting me to the test mentally. I can't do this. So it's just very different. The Jesters to me are very, very dark. I consider them absolutely demonic, satanic. If you look at these guys, like when I got to see them at this party in Vegas, Tommy pointed this out when we did our stream about it after Vegas. Yes, Patricia. I thought these prostitutes, right? I thought it was like a glam show. I thought it was like this beautiful. I really did. I thought they were going to come out in like gowns and look happy and like perfect. These women looked so like worn down, ragged, like they looked miserable, right? And I walked past one of them and she said, Reese. And she was haggard. And I'm not making fun. This is not me shaming. This poor woman looked horrible. And she goes, what are you doing here? And I said, I just wanted to see it for myself. And it was sad. Like I looked at them and I thought, oh my God, all this time I've been like jealous of these women, comparing myself to these women. He would come home from parties and I was like, I'm fat, my boobs are small. Like I really, really tore my body down way more during that time than I ever did. Because I just thought, how am I supposed to compete with these prostitutes. They're perfect. They have fake boobs. They have beautiful teeth. They've had their face done. Like they have beautiful makeup. They make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to look however they want. They carry all the nicest purses. Like I can't compete with that. When I saw them, it was so depressing. I thought, oh my God, I felt like I was looking at animals in cages and I was free. I felt like I was just like, I can't watch this. This is nothing that I thought it was. He did, Stacey Tom says, and I'm sure he encouraged you to feel that way about yourself. He did. Yes. So it just brings me back to, I feel very differently about this as far as the dark side of it. What I'm trying to say is it makes more sense now than ever to me why I felt like I was going insane. I felt like I can't think of his last name, Jack. Oh, Jack Nicholson, of course, but in the movie, in The Shining. Like in the beginning of that movie, remember he was totally normal and then he goes insane and goes absolutely nuts, right? That's how I felt. I felt like I was just like so isolated that it just became worse and worse. And I just started to get a little more crazy feeling in my head. And it's because I had this, I say this now, I truly feel like I was a snake charmer. Like I had to charm this snake day in and day out to keep it from attacking and biting and sinking its venom into me. All the time, I felt like I had to defend myself. I had to say, you like, he loved, like, I'll give you an example. I brought in a piece of mail and it was around Christmas at the time in our house. And I brought in this piece of mail and I opened it. It was a Christmas card. And I looked at it and I said, "Oh." And he's standing in the kitchen. He said, "What?" And I said, "Oh, I thought this was for us." I said, "This is for our old neighbors who used to live here." This dude turns around in the kitchen. He goes, "That's illegal as shit what you just did." Like shaming me. And I said, "What's illegal?" He goes, "You just opened somebody else's mail. That's a federal offense." And I look at him and I go, "You want to talk what's illegal?" I said, "You go to trafficking hooker parties. You go to hooker party rings, trafficking rings, whatever you want to call it." I said, "You go to these parties." And he was like, "Fuck you. I do not. Would you let that go? You sound nuts." Like he would just, "You sound crazy. Listen to yourself." So that was like, I felt like Jack Torrance. That's it. Yes. I felt like that was my life every day. Every day he would like throw some shot at me and I would go back with, "Oh, well, at least they don't go to hooker parties." Like, "Hey, dark roast, well, thanks, babe." He would try to, he would say something like, he'd say to me often, "You're just an uneducated Scientologist. What would you know? You don't have any common sense." Like he'd say shit like that to me all the time. And it's like, do you not know who you're married to? You think I'm just going to lay down and cry? I'm always going to come back. I was bull baited for thousands of hours in my life. Do you really think? So I would come back and I'd go, "Well, at least I don't fuck hookers." Right? I mean, at least I can get laid for free. At least I'm not $120,000, $30,000 in credit card debt, fucking hookers, right? Like I had something every time to come back with. And so that was our life. And he would go, "Fuck you." Bah, 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 bah. And I'd go, "Fuck you. You fuck hookers." Like what? I don't understand. Hey, Jackie Smith. Reese, is there a jester party in Texas this year? Jackie, there is large amounts of jester parties in Texas this year. Yes, there are several parties in Texas. Texas has a lot of jesters. Do you think you would talk to the attorneys that have tackled the other churches? Pertaining to what, Linda? What do you mean? Jesters? I don't understand. "Other than your taste in men, you are oozing with common sense." Yeah, well, that was a bad one, Christy Lynn Wilson. That was a bad one. The problem is I didn't know that in the beginning. He was very different in the beginning. He was actually quite sweet and way more mild and mellow, right? You should spill the dates and cities of all the parties. I could. I could. Somebody who works with the Jesters sent me all their parties for this year so that if I wanted to go to one, I have the dates and locations. I have had Jester prostitute husbands reach out to me. I have had them email me and say, I'm not willing to identify myself. I will tell you my wife's name. This is it. And it would line up with the name of the bartenders I knew. And they would say, I need to know this. Do you know this? I talked to several of them on the phone. I've talked to bartenders on the phone for the Jesters. I have spoken with several prostitutes for the Jesters, and I've spoken to not undercover, but Jesters themselves. I spoke with one who talked to me and said, I talked to him on the phone, and he said he was kicked out. He told me. And I said, no way. And he said, oh, he was. I confirmed it. He was kicked out. He said, because of all the stuff you've been doing, they kicked him out. And he said, I got to be honest with you. He said, everybody fucking hated him anyway. He said, I always hated your husband. He said he was a dick swinging asshole. He was rude to people. He thought he was better than everybody else. He had no manners. And he said, we had been wanting to kick him out. He's not trustworthy. And I said, wow. Okay. So he has been, that I know of, kicked out. I don't know if he's back in. I don't know if he's trying to get back in. Like, I think they can petition to get back in. I have no idea on that, nor do I care. I have been threatened. I have been mailed several. I have a bunch of weird letters that people have mailed to me, threats. I have gotten threatening emails. I have been threatened that I'm going to be sued, which, again, I'm totally okay with being sued with the Jesters or the Church of Scientology, because I would love to enter into discovery all the evidence that I have. Nothing that I've said isn't true. So if it's like a defamation thing, you'd have to prove that I'm lying. I can prove everything I've said, right? I haven't even shown my evidence. I haven't shown what I saw in his computer. And so I would love to enter that in to show all the sex trafficking, him paying for airline tickets for the girls, him paying for their hotel rooms. That's all traveling across state line with prostitutes. So again, that's what you were talking about, Linda. I haven't spoken to an attorney about that. I have spoken to law enforcement at length about it. Yes, FBI. So I don't know what will be done about it. I'm not some warrior here. I'm not trying to take them down. It's like Scientology. I doubt they'll go away, right? They're also a very, I don't know if they're, they could be. The Masons could be $1 billion organization. I'm not sure actually on that. But I know they have a lot of money, just like Scientology. And I don't think any of us are going to take down Scientology. I think that exposing them and chipping away at it is what it takes. And so we're all doing that. I think that's amazing. And I think I spoke with a Mason once who came across my channel, and we spoke on the phone. He was a really cool guy. He'd been a Mason for 35 years. He said, I hate the Jesters. I know tons of them. I am not one. He said, but he said, in my 35 years, they are top secret. Like you can't get any information. They don't, he said, he goes, you know how many Jester friends I have that I've said, like, so tell me. And they are locked up tight. He said, I can't get them to talk. They won't talk. They're not supposed to. They're not allowed to. And he goes, you have more information than anybody I know of. He goes, you have solid proof on things. And he goes, that's crazy. He said, because I have been trying to get answers for years. And so I thought that was promising. What I may end up doing, I don't know. I'm not even sure how to do it. I would probably be able to black out the names and I could show you things. I'm happy to show things. Like, I'm not bluffing here. I have things I can show. I just don't want to, I don't care about the men so much, but I don't want to dox the women. That's not fair. I don't think it's necessary. Sure, they're partaking in it, but like, it just feels dirty to me either way. I really don't want to dox anyone. I'm not in the business of playing God. These people will get what's coming to them. Hopefully the law will be the first line of defense there, and will come knocking on their door. But I don't feel it's my job to take that on and out these people with their families. It just doesn't feel right to me. So if I can somehow, I mean, the prostitutes and names are everywhere on all of these pictures. Yeah, Buffy, I could show it as is. I don't want to do that. It's just, I'm not in the business of ruining people's lives. Again, I feel like that's what a lot of the haters do with me. Like, we're going to show receipts, and we're going to ruin Reese's life. And the person that texted me a week ago was like, the truth's coming out about you, Reese. We're going to nail the final nail into your coffin. And what did I respond with? Nail it shut. Nail it shut. I get tired of people threatening and playing God. It's the same thing. Like, it's not anything to me. You know, I'm not doing anything dirty under the table and prostituting myself or going to jester parties and treating women like objects. I don't have things to hide like that. So I just don't, it's playing God, and I don't want to do that. You were served yesterday, Wanda, for what? That's horrible. Yes, trying to control you through fear. Absolutely. And that's what they've been doing since the beginning of time. Trolls and haters, that's all they have is fear and intimidation. And if it doesn't work on you, they're fucked. And they're fucked in my book. I don't care. I don't care what they think they have. It makes me tired, honestly. It's not impressive at all. No one cares either. I mean, to be honest, like, you've got your little band of people who love drama and hate, but for the most part, like, people get tired of that stuff. Do you really want to see someone call a single mom a cunt and tear them down? I mean, do you really get off on that? I don't. I don't want to hear about other people's misfortunes and laugh at them, even if they're haters, even if they're horrible people. Like, I don't want to know. I don't get off on people suffering. It's not a thing for me. Control through fear. Absolutely. Jan, more or less, do you think the younger generation are not becoming jesters? When you were there, was it mostly 50-year-olds and above? So I saw a swing when I was there. They are certainly, so each court, and there's 197 courts, are allowed to, Rain, are allowed to recruit 13 men per year. 13 is their number. I understand, Wanda. 13 is their number. They start every lunch at 12:13. Their book of the play starts at 1:13. Everything's 13. So they're allowed to recruit in 13 men per year per court. Okay. They have been trying and trying and trying and trying to recruit younger guys, and it's working. The ones in Kansas City, thank you, Jill Turner. Wow. You are a phenomenal force, Reese. Thank you. The ones in Kansas City were younger and younger every year. One of them had his own law practice, and that guy was probably 40, 45. There was another one that was like 35. So they absolutely are trying to, sorry, guys. They are absolutely attempting. They're well aware that the old dudes are dying off. So yes, 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 yes. Yes, they're trying to recruit younger men. Yeah, Wanda, I'm really sorry. I have an idea of what you're talking about. I don't know if you're allowed to text me. If not, I don't need to know. And I'm sorry that that's happening. Does anybody have any other questions about this? I feel like there's things I obviously could cover another 2 hours worth of this. There's way more. I have tons. It's like Scientology, guys. It goes on forever. I have so many stories, so many dirtball sleaze bags that, and that's the other thing. It's such a cult. When he would say to me, you grew up in a cult, sweetie, I was like, and you're in a cult too, Jeff? And he'd be like, I am not in a cult. And I was like, dude, you're in way more of a cult than I am. Like, if you really believe that. But they're very similar, like Scientologists. They all work for each other. Like, most of them are super wealthy, and most of them own their own businesses, things like that, or they're lawyers, cops, judges, things like that, politicians. Yeah, baby steps. But I will say, like, let's say there's a president of a bank that's a jester. All the jesters in that town are going to bank with that jester. So it's very similar. If there's a jester dentist, all the jesters are going to see that dentist, right? So it's very similar to Scientology, very similar to Scientology in that sense, right? Understood, Wanda. We absolutely can, Wendy. You just have to ask me if you guys have specific questions. Jeff's tactics were straight out of the cult playbook book. Love bomb, gaslight, control. I'm so sorry you went through that, friend. Thank you, Christy Lynn Wilson. But you know what? I am not sorry. Like, I'm not sorry at all. Oh, new life plan, you're still here. I'm not sorry because look at where, like, all of this brought me to where I am now. And I'm happy with where I am. And I truly believe that God will protect me. I don't think anything terrible is going to happen to me. They've threatened me. They've absolutely threatened me. I really don't believe that they're going to do anything to me. I don't think so. I just don't. So look where I'm at. Look at who I follow now. Look at who I'm with. Like, I'm happy to be here. If I had to go through all of that, Scientology and the Jester cult, at least I use my voice to expose it. I have my memory. I have my photos. I mean, it's the same thing. Yes, Christy Lynn Wilson. It's the same thing as Scientology. It's not like I just have these stories to share. I have tons and tons of evidence to back it up. Right? So it's the same thing with the Jesters. Sure, I have stories, but I also have a lot of evidence to back it up. And I'm thankful that I was smart enough to take photos, to take audio, to protect myself. I took so many photos and thank you, Muffet Lou, so much audio. And I sent it to one friend, Ryan. There you are. Yeah. New life plan. How's your friend, Ryan? I sent it to Ryan and I told him, this was years ago. I said, if anything happens to me, if I suddenly go missing, I even made myself a video that said, I am not suicidal. I am of sound mind. Like, in case it looks that way, I wanted people to find evidence that this isn't right. So I gave it all to Ryan, my one friend at the time, who I shared everything with. And I said, if anything happens to me and my son, if I'm magically run off the road, if it looks like I killed myself, I said, sing like a canary, dude. Send this everywhere. Send it to every news outlet. Give it to the police. Give it to the newspapers. Everywhere. Give it everywhere. And here's a list of all the men. Documentation. Here's a list of all the men that are in this group. I protected myself. Hey, Funky Mama, and thank you for your super chat, New Life Plan. Ryan is doing great. I actually talked to him today over text. Okay, Wanda. I kind of would like to have him on again to talk about the Jesters, if you guys would like to. Ryan knew quite a bit because I shared everything with him, and he met a lot of them. I would like to revisit that with Ryan. I hope you have copies. Oh, Lena, I have copies. It's the same as my Scientology stuff. It's all copied with an attorney as well. So yes, I have copies for sure. Don't worry, girl, but thank you. One thing I know how to do is protect myself from things like this. And thank you for being a member. I'm not against, hey, Topsy, I'm not against prostitution in general, but exploitation and lying liars that lie can go to hell. So I have to be clear about this as well. I am not shaming being a sex worker. This is very similar to me, to your sexuality, your sexual preferences, anything like that. I support that. I don't have a problem with that. Why would I have a problem with that, though, is the question. Why should I have a problem with your personal preference? If you're not hurting a person or an animal, live your life. And I don't want to be a part of it. I don't need to know, right? Like, you have the same rights I do. Why would I question anything you're doing? It's not my business. So if someone is a sex worker, anything like that, as long as it's consensual, I mean, it's not legal in most states, I really don't care. What I care about, it's the behavior, the greed, it's the slimy, sleazy organization and how they go about doing it. I said this to Jeff many, many times. Many times. Many times. He would deny it, right? We'd fight weekly and he'd go, you're crazy. You're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. You know what I would say to him every time? If you would just own up to this shit, take some accountability and say, honey, You're right. I go to these parties, I fuck these women. It is a prostitution ring, and that is what we do. We've been doing it for 100 years. I told him I would have more respect for you, dude, if you would just own it. But the filthiness of it, the sleaziness, the lying to these wives really got to me. And then for the one prostitute that I spoke with was like, I'm saving these marriages. Like, gross, gross. You're not saving any marriage. You didn't save my marriage. I'll tell you that. You fucking destroyed it. You and my husband did. So that's for me, the sleaziness of it. If it was on the up and up, but that's my opinion, right? Like that's my moral opinion. Does that make me right? Does that make me the spokesperson for it? No. But for me, it's morally wrong in this situation, for sure. The fact that there was even one daughter groomed by the mother for their prostitution ring is reason enough to hate what these jesters are doing. I agree with that completely. I'm just saying I don't yeah, reflections. I'm very, very big on this is how I feel. I'm staying in my lane. I don't like to speak for other people, and I don't like to shame groups of people, right? For like what they do, what they are. So like I'm shaming the jesters because that's just speaks for itself. But I don't want to be like sex workers are gross. Like, no, I don't feel that way. Do what you do, girl or guy. Do what you do. It's not cool with me what these people do, but I'm not going to hold a show on it. You know, it's similar to people who don't like Scientologists, don't like gay people. Why? Honestly, why? Like, what is it? How is it interfering with you in your living room? Who cares who loves whom? Like, I never understood that. So it's the same thing with sex workers. Do what you do. I'm not going to hold a show about it or stand outside, you know, with a sign. Do what the fuck you do. But it ruined my marriage. You know, I said to him once, "Oh, I'm sure he could, Buffy." Actually, that's a good point. I said to Jeff once, if you would quit, I really loved Jeff. I have to be honest. I really loved him. This destroyed me and it made me very difficult to love him. But I said to him once, I said, if you would just leave, we were in our closet. We had a big walk-in closet. And I said, if you would just leave, if you would quit, like, I need you to quit. And I said, this is killing me. And he said, then we will get divorced. He said, I will divorce you before I leave the Jesters. And I said, so it goes Jesters, then your wife. And he said, no, you are always first. And I said, Dad, how can you say that after what you just said? That just collapsed on itself. Try again. So the day I was leaving, it was the day before I left and moved out. We got divorced and I was leaving. I would never see Jeff again. And I was sad. And I went into our bathroom and he was standing there and I cried and I said, if you would have just left the Jesters, I would have stayed with you. I want you to know that. If you would have just left, I would have stayed. And he laughed in my face. And he said, no, you would not have stayed. He said, you wouldn't have stayed. That's bullshit. Like he laughed at it. He mocked it. I just said, okay. And then from what I heard from this other jester guy is that he got kicked out. I have no idea if that's accurate, but I think it is. Thank you, circled in red. Marriage is about monogamy for most people. Using prostitutes while married is making a mockery of marriage. For the most part, I agree with that. Now, people can design their own marriages, obviously. I don't personally see the point in going through the hoops of legally tying yourself to another person if you're just going to sleep around with everybody. The thing that I love most about marriages and relationships, I used to say this to Tommy. I used to love it that when we have sex, when we are up at night talking and laughing, my favorite thing is that I'm the only person that can do this with you. That's intimacy. That makes me feel close to you because nobody else on planet Earth should or will do this with you. That's a beautiful thing. To me, that's very passionate, it's deep, it's intimate, not just the act of sex. But that's all to me, all lovemaking. Laying there with a person, holding hands and just like sharing your deepest, darkest things, like all of that. Why go through the hoops? I mean, people do it. Again, I'm not going to tell you who you can and can't love and who you can and can't have sex with. Not my concern. It just seems odd, that if you're going to have a marriage, wouldn't you just want it to be like both of you? Word is he has petitioned for reinstatement. Yeah, Kat, I love that. I'm glad you didn't stay because he abused you in other ways too. And he abused my son. Yeah, he was verbally abusive, but he was also physically abusive a couple of times in our relationship. He got physical with me and my child. Yes. I love that, Jessamine. Intimacy should be up to you, girl. That's what I'm saying. It's up to the couple. You establish your rules, consent, things like that. I mean, there's I almost said polygamous. That's a thing. Polyamory, right? So that's like multiple partners. Do your thing. It's your sexual preference or whatever it is. Do your thing. I'm saying for me, it's a fucking no. Like it's an absolute no. That's one person out of 8 billion people on planet Earth. And I'm not going to be stupid enough to go, you should do what I do, right? I don't care what people do sexually or whatever, as long as it's totally both people consent to it. No one's getting hurt. Who cares? Who cares what goes on behind closed doors with couples? Doesn't matter to me. Wanda, let's pray he doesn't get reinstated. I mean, Margie Barr, I couldn't see that happening. But why can't I see that happening? Because they're so ethical, they're so moral. I mean, they probably will reinstate him. They're a bunch of sleaze bag men. They're disgusting. And here's the thing. I said that knowing what I just said. I looped them all in. And I said last night, I truly believe not every single jester cheats on their wife. Probably 90 to 95% of them do. But here's the problem. Let's say 90%. That 10% that doesn't, you think you're off the hook? You know what goes on. You're just as much a sleazebag. You're an accomplice. You're well aware. They go to the parties where there's naked bartenders walking around serving drinks while they may not sleep with them. They may not grab ass them. They may be total gentlemen. You're still a piece of shit because you're married and your wife's at home and she has no idea. That's not fair. That's not consensual. That's where I'm not cool with it. Polyamory, to my knowledge, I'm not an expert on it, is where each partner in the group consents and knows that he sleeps with her and she sleeps with that guy and they sleep together and those two women sleep together and everybody's aware of it and consents to it. Cool. Right? Don't care. Not my business. But you're a piece of shit if you're going to a sex party and you're just looking but not touching. You're not tasting off the menu. That's ridiculous. That doesn't make you a good person. Jeff may have very, very well been that. To this day, I never found evidence that he cheated on me. I want to be clear about that. I found evidence to the moon and back that he cheated on Wanda. I never once, this is in Jeff's favor. I'm standing up for him here. Never once found anything. And guys, I am a sleuth to the bone. Okay. Went through his phone, went through his Apple Watch, went through his computer. Never once found any evidence that he cheated on me. Now, people at the party I went to in December said he cheated on me. A couple of the prostitutes said it and one of the guys said it. So he lost you for the Jesters and then he gets kicked out of the Jesters and loses that also. Yes, Audra, kind of made me sad. But yeah, Kat, you're a sleazeball. You're a sleazeball either way. So what I'm saying is Jeff would come back from those parties and he would say to me, I didn't touch any of them. I didn't sleep with any of them. And I'd go, I don't give a shit. That's not good enough. You partook, man. That's gross. They were walking around looking at you. There were naked tits all in your face and God knows what else. That doesn't make your hands clean. That's disgusting. So I said to Jeff so many times, guys, I used to be a meth addict. I did meth for 2 years from the age of 16 to 18. Got away from it, been clean ever since, right? Yes, Dawn, I know, really lame, right? I said to him, because he wouldn't get it. He was like, I didn't do anything though. I didn't partake. And I would go, let me put it to you this way, because you're this dumb. Okay. I used to be a drug addict. Let's just say that I'm like, Jeff, I'm going to go to these drug parties because they're my friends. They're my friends. I quit doing drugs, illegal drugs, but they're my friends and I want to see them because that's what he would say. These guys are my friends. I want to go see them. Oh, sure. Okay. So they're my friends, but I'm not going to do drugs. There will be piles of drugs everywhere. I will have access to it, but I'm not going to touch any of it. I'm not going to taste it. I'm not going to snort it. I'm not going to do anything. I promise. Okay. And I'm going to go for 5 days, by the way, and I can't have my phone. But I will be back Sunday and I won't be high. You can check my pupils. You can drug test me, whatever. And then I'm going to come home and he's going to go, so you didn't do any drugs. I'm going to go, no, I'm totally clean. How insane does that sound? You'd go, why won't you get new friends? You shouldn't put yourself in those positions. It's illegal. Why would you go to a drug party, Reese? It's the same thing. And he would go, well, if you did, I would trust you. That's what he would say. Because then I would flip it and I'd go, what if I went to sex parties? Kim is blue. What if I went to sex parties? I said that to him once. I said, what if there was like Jesters for women? And I was going to a bunch of these sex parties for 5 days without a phone, blah, 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 you know. And he was like, I trust you. I wouldn't care. And I was like, really? You'd be totally cool with it, like dicks and balls in my face. Like as long as like I'm not paying to play, we're good. So like dicks literally swinging in my face, like little, just trapeze swingers, right? Like no problem with that. Like dicks in my drinks, like just peens, just like everywhere, just flopping around. You know how peens are. Like if I had one, I would be flopping that thing around. I would be like circling it like an elephant trunk. I would hope I'd have a big one. Like what if it was tiny? That would be weird because then it would just be like it wouldn't be able to do anything. I'd like a big swinging one. So just dicks everywhere, right? Like just everywhere. Like dicks like sticking out of the holes in the walls, like just Peanapalooza. Yeah, absolutely. Testicle festival. I was like, what if that happened, Jeff? Like, what if I literally went to testicle festivals every once a month for 5 days, a peen party? I'm telling you right now, though, if I had a dick, I would. I'd be like, swing it, swing it. Like I would sing. I would have my own songs. I'd be peeing on everything. I'd be swinging it around. I'd walk up to women and be like, look at this thing. Are you fucking impressed? Because I am. It can do a lot. Like it can write your name on the wall. I would like to just for like a day be like, what is it like? Like, what's it like to be able to go out of your car and pee without peeing in your sock? Every time, like I piss in my sock. Well, I pooped in my sock recently. Remember that when I had pancreatitis? But like, what would it be like? What would it be like to just like have this giant circumcised peen sticking out through your shorts and like you could tell? Like it would be crazy. I'd be proud of that thing. Peripheral peen. I remember it, Dawn. I remember it well. Yeah, circled in red I am. You got to at the end. The Panky is not angry right now. The Panky, not true. I had a little bit of a pain earlier today. It scared me, but then it went away and I ate a snack. This entire weird party scene is beyond disgusting. Yeah, I'm so glad you divorced him. Aline, same girl. And I have not talked to him. I don't know what his life is like right now. I don't know anything about him. I don't hope for the worst for him. Again, now that I feel very close to God, I really don't do that. I don't want to attack people. I don't want to hate my haters. Like, let them say whatever they're going to say. Remember, nail it shut. Nail whatever you got, evidence on me. You got, what was it? We're going to expose you. It's coming to an end for you. We're going to show the world who you really are. Yes. No, I get it. Nail it the fuck shut. Okay. And swing your peen while you're at it. Apparently he is still bothering Wanda. Holy cow, you look like a cheerleader, not a meth addict. Well, thanks, Audra in Denver. My God. What a sweet thing to say. I'm glad that I don't look like a meth addict. I haven't done meth in a very long time. He trusts you to go to a sex party, but not to Costco by yourself. Give me a break. He's so full of garbage. That's a great point. He wouldn't let me leave the house practically by myself. But yeah, you could go to a swing and peen sex party any night of the week. Yeah, absolutely. Sure, sure. Baby steps. Maybe the reason you are wanting to talk about the Jesters is to stop Jeff from getting back in, along with future exposure overall. God lead. You know, that didn't cross my mind. Um, Here's the thing about that, and then I'll sign off. But baby steps, I don't feel one way or the other about wanting to stop him from getting back in. It's kind of similar to someone walking into a church of Scientology and being like, sign me up. I hope that doesn't happen. And I would like to use my voice to spread the word that Scientology is evil. But we all know people are going to walk in and join. We all know, like, if he rejoins the Jesters, let's put it this way, being a newfound member of God, I don't have any question about him having to answer for what he's done. And I'm going to leave that to God. I'm serious. I don't think about it anymore. That's how I feel about the haters who send me hate mail or death threats. Like, I'm going to leave that one for the big guy. I just don't worry about it anymore. You want to go back into the Jesters and sell your soul because I truly believe it's satanic. I'm not trying to get weirdly religious here. I mean that of the actual sense of the word. I think it is of Satan. I think it is demonic as hell. They do rituals. Look at this photo. And Baby Steps, thank you for the super chat. Look at this picture. Look at that. Just take a look at that, guys. Take a good look at that. That's evil. Take a look at this. That looks like something from hell. I'm not saying that lightly. Look at the thing's ears. Remember how I said yesterday I love people whose ears stick out? I do, but I don't love demons whose ears stick out. Look at this thing. This is like Ouija board shit. Like, to me, hey, Professor Kakan, this is like calling in dark forces. Why would I want to do that? They do sex rituals. Like, this isn't anything like, you think that these guys aren't going to have to answer for what they've done? I'm not worried about it. And it's not my job. All I'm here to do is use my voice because I went through it. This isn't something where, like, I had a friend who told me, and I heard that their mailman's sister's brother, that, like, I was there. Same with Scientology. I just speak my experiences. I don't talk for other people. I speak for my experiences. I was there. I saw it. I witnessed it. And it was a very, very dark, demonic part of my life. Can't say that about Scientology. I can't say that about Scientology. So Scientology did not make me feel evil. It did not make me feel like I was near demonic forces, feelings. I'm serious. It's a creepy, dark, satanic feeling vibe that you get. You know, when a guy walks up to you at a party and gropes you and grabs you, this guy, I told you I was going to a party. And how often do you see me in pigtails? I do it a couple times a month, right? If my hair is really dirty, I'll put pigtails in and wear a hat. And I think that's a cute look. Sometimes I'll just do it because it's cute. So we get to this party and my hair was in pigtails and we had been driving for hours and I had planned to go up to the hotel room and fix myself up. We get to this party and it hadn't started yet, but my hair is in pigtails. This dirty fucking guy comes up to me and hard goes like this, grabs my hair, grabs my pigtail. And he puts his lips on my ear and he goes, "Those pigtails make you look like a schoolgirl. And I like it." That's what he says to me in front of people. That's dark. That is some demonic shit right there. to walk up to somebody's wife, a grown woman, I don't care if it's a child, a human being, and grab somebody like that is so, like, that's not a small thing. That's incredibly violating. It's incredibly violating to do that to a woman. I don't ever want anyone to feel like they just grabbed you. It is until it's happened to you, I froze up like an animal. I was like, it freaks me out for a man to feel like it's okay to put his hands on you, to grab your hair and hold you by the hair is such a dirty, disgusting. It should never happen to a man or a woman. I'm sticking up for all genders here. It's not okay to go up to anybody. I don't care if you're the hottest woman in the world. I've talked about this. Don't ever walk up to a guy and just grab him and go, "Hey, fella. Hey, sexy," like whatever it is. It's not okay. It's not okay to put your fucking hands on people, whether you're some hot woman or you're some big man. It's really, really threatening and violating. Your body is your space, right? Like it's yours. That ruined me. It really fucked me up for a long time mentally, guys. It made me very confused about who I was as far as like my identity. I felt like an object. Every party I attended, somebody would grab me. Somebody would elevator eye me and go, "Nice choice, Jeff. This is a good one. Nice pick." It's beyond, to me, it is absolutely, sure it's not rape, but it is rape vibes. It's the violating feeling of like, I'm an object to you, like you think you can just assert yourself onto me because I don't matter, like I'm less than, I'm inferior to you. What made you think it's okay to come up and grab a body part of mine and say some disgusting sexual thing like you own me? It really effed me up mentally for a long time because I would say something to my husband and he'd go, "Well, I didn't see it." So that messed with me big time, big time. It made my worth drop and it made my fear rise and it made me feel like people owned me. Wanda says, "Let me explain about Fred. He joined Jesters when it was a gentleman's club." He did. He was a jester for 50 years. They would get together, play poker, and watch old stag movies. Harry Truman was a jester. It has morphed into hell. Yes, Harry Truman, the president, was a friend of Fred's. They were good friends. Fred played the piano with his wife, Bess. That's Harry Truman. He was a jester. That is very true. And I will say this. I'm not going to sit here and say Fred was a perfect angel. Fred probably did nothing. I wasn't there. I don't know. And he was a jester for 50 years. And Fred was not perfect. He was a man. Okay. He was married for 72 years to a woman named Jenny that I have the ultimate respect for. And I've heard nothing but good stories that he was so sweet to her. She got dementia, Alzheimer's, very bad. She had to go to a memory care. He took care of her. He went there every day until she died. He paid $12,000 a month for her to be there. Fred was a gentleman to his wife and to me as his wife. But I still have to say, I don't know what kind of activities and what his behavior was in the Jesters. And if someone said, "I know for a fact he cheated on his wife and he did this," I'd have to accept that and I wouldn't be shocked, right? But I will tell you this. The last party we ever went to was a potentates party, which potentates are the highest they get to in the shrine. Fred was a potentate in 1982. So every year they threw a potentates party for all the potentates at Christmas. Okay. All the potentates were jesters. So it was also a jester party. And we go, and these guys are all Fred's friends. Okay. All his friends. We had just gotten married. They hated me. They didn't like me at all. These particular guys, not all the jesters. Trust me. Jeff told me that guys were taking bets on who was going to marry me next when Fred dies. Jeff told me those guys every week were like, oh, we wish we were Fred. One of us is going to get her when Fred dies. Like they were taking bets on who's going to get her next. It was, again, just an object. So we go to this potentate party, and these guys in particular can't stand me. And one of them's name was Wayne, and he was a close friend of Fred's. Wayne was very rude to me. And he's behind the bar making a drink, like shaking that thing. And Fred had known Wayne forever. And he walked up to him and he said, this is incredible. He goes, we got married. And Wayne went, yeah, I heard. And Fred got so mad. He's 95 years old. Fred got so mad. And he goes, then tell us congratulations. And he said, and show my wife the respect she deserves. And Fred's holding on to me. Fred held on to me in bed at night. We held hands. Fred held, so many people said that after he died, like, my God, he held on to you like you were going to run away. I mean, he just loved me. He was so in love with me. We held on to each other all the time. This guy goes, congratulations, mocking, just a dick, right? And these were guys that were close to Fred, very close. And Fred, within minutes, says, let's go, we're leaving. And I'm the new kid, right? Like I'm like meeting these people, but I knew they were his close friends. And he goes, we're leaving. And he's holding me real tight, like pulling me. Fred was very strong, very strong. And I said, we don't have to leave. I was like, we don't have to go. I wasn't offended. I didn't really give a shit by this dickhead's tone of voice, right? And I said, we don't have to go, Fred. And he goes, we're leaving. And he's like growling. His voice was like, we're leaving. He was really angry. And we got to the door. And he said, let's go. He was so mad. And I said, Fred, you don't have to be mad. We can stay. And he goes, we're leaving. And I looked at him, and he was like profiled to me, like he's next to me. So we're not face to face. And he looked at me. He finally turned to me when we get to this guy's door. And I said, they're your friends. And he turned and looked at me in the face. And he went, I'll get new friends. I had never once had a man stand up for me like that. Fred was a huge deal in the Masonic community, huge. He was a 33rd degree Mason. There's not very many of those. He was a potentate. They called him, every time they saw him, they didn't call him Fred. They called him illustrious sir. That was like how they addressed Fred. They would go, illustrious sir. And I would like joke and elbow him. And I'd be like, what'd you say, illustrious sir? And he'd be like, oh, quit it. But it was a big deal. Fred was a huge deal. And I couldn't believe it. To this day, he drove us home, didn't call him again. He meant what he said. He said, I'll get new friends. He put me above the rest of them. He loved me that much. Fred loved me so much. He was not. Can you imagine if I would have said to him, one of those guys just grabbed me on the ass? Fred would have thrown hands so fast. And he was old, but my God, he was firm. He was solid. He had, every time my dad shook his hand, he would have to take his ring off because Fred would crush his hand. Fred was so strong. But after 50 years of being in that organization, I said, they're your friends. I'll get new friends. That's what he said to me. And he fucking meant it. I didn't want to tango with that anymore. We drove home in silence. I was like, he is seething. He was so angry. And it was incredible. So then when I married Jeff, he would tell everybody, Fred gifted her to me. He said that once on one of my shows. Do you guys remember that? Jeff said that on one of my shows. He sat next to me in the basement and he said something like that, or he said that he gifted her to me. And I was like, yeah, that is so gross, man. Fred doesn't feel that way. He doesn't feel that way, I promise. And Fred regrets this, I'm sure. All of this with you. Fred was an alpha male for sure. Yeah. No, gifted her to me is, again, like an object. That's how they looked at women. And Fred did not look at women that way. I promise he did not. He was so respectful to me. He never raised his voice at me, except that. I mean, he did that night. He was like, I'll get new friends. He was super growly, but he wasn't yelling at me. He was intense and passionate about what he felt and the disrespect toward the guy's wife, right? That's what I miss. I miss that about Fred. He was so, so protective, and he wouldn't let anybody disrespect me, not even his close friends, not even his slimy, dirty fucking jester friends, right? So that's how I feel about it. And that's what I wanted to talk about, was like the differences. And I'm not done. I'd like to do, oh, this thing still really itches, but I can't itch it. I'd like to do, I'm just using my fingertips, my pads and my fingers, guys. Don't worry, not using nails. I'd really like to use my nails. Yeah, very much, Kat. I would like to do more streams about this, kind of similar to what I say about Scientology, guys. We got to open up about this. I should expose this stuff. I'm made to expose this stuff. I lived through it. I should talk about it. It would be a waste to not expose them and talk about it. So I appreciate you listening. Thank you, C-Dubs. I appreciate you listening to this stream. I know, Audra, I know I was all over the place, but I'd like to do more. I'd like to do, like, narrow down to more specific subjects when it comes to the Jesters. I would happily do, if you guys want to do something with Ryan again, I think that would be good. Thank you, Linda. And I would like to, hey, Riley's human. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the Zoom call. I would like to, any questions you guys have, like we could do a Jester Q&A. I know Margie Barr says she scratches next to new tattoos. I try to do that too. I'm like over here doing it, but it just doesn't help. Ooh, it's itchy. It's really itchy. Yeah, pepperoni nips. And I'm just happy to see you, that you're back. Again, I'm sorry that you lost your job. But I mean it, guys. Thank you for listening. I want you to hit subscribe. You could be unsubscribed by YouTube. Hit subscribe if you can. Thank you, Jill Turner. And thank you for what you said earlier. Yeah, Buffy, I will look into that. I know, Rain, I've been doing that since you told me to. I wasn't slapping it before, and the other night Rain said, slap it. And I was like, oh, that's true. Aline, I'm glad that you're going to be at the Zoom call. Guys, the Zoom call is Sunday at noon. I'm really looking forward to that. There's just a lot of things I want to talk about. What reason did the cellist give you for getting kicked off the line? Well, we weren't talking anymore at that point. Hey, Tammy, we didn't speak. Wanda, he didn't give me a reason. You talked to him. I don't talk to Jeff at all. I haven't spoken to Jeff. God, I couldn't even tell you the last time. I have no idea when the last time I talked to Jeff was. We don't talk. And I'm sure he has me blocked, right? Kat, great stream. Love you, Reese. Thank you for the super chat, babe. And I love you too. Oh, pepperoni nips. I would love that. Hey, Kay Thompson, don't worry. Guys, next time, though, maybe we do another one in like a week. Would you guys want to do a Jester Q&A? Like, I hate to do that and then no one has questions, but I can still fill up 2 hours talking about it. I mean, I have enough experience under my belt to talk about it. So we could do something like that too. And I can show you some of my stuff. I just don't want to dox the women. I really feel strongly about that. But just know that it is very demonic and satanic. I truly believe that. I think that they bring the dark side of things to the world for sure. Life is lifing at the moment. I totally get it, Topsy. I'm just happy to see you. We've missed you, and we'll just see you when we can. You know, I get it. Life is priority, babe. Guys, thank you again. And thank you for all your super chats. And thank you, Baby Steps, for gifting memberships. I always think that's really kind. I just love that. Maybe Margie Barr. Am I a member who can Zoom, or do I have to up it? Pepperoni Nips, I'm on StreamYard. I can't see. I don't think the mods can see your membership either. It's the Gertie and Fred tier membership, so I'm not sure. Thank you, old Charlie. And I'm glad you were here. I love you guys. I will ask Ryan. I think that's a great idea. Mods, Susan, I love you, girl. Thank you for being here, mods. And tomorrow's Saturday. I'd like to come back because I won't be here Sunday because of the Zoom call. I will be back tomorrow afternoon earlier. This was a later stream, and I'll be back tomorrow afternoon to visit with you guys. But I love you, and thank you for listening to me. I mean it. Jason, we love you. I will see you guys tomorrow, and here comes Fred.